It's finally here. The Terra Luna plan has been approved, and Do Kwon and the team are moving forward with Terra Luna Classic. So in this video, we're going to cover what it means for you as a UST or Luna holder and how that'll affect your airdrop, and then also what it means for a prospective person trying to get into Luna. So let's dive right in. The first thing I want to note here is just how close this voting came down to. So this was in the low 60s just a few days ago, and over the last few days, we kind of saw this yes vote push. It looks like about 83% of the total votes have come in. And the one thing I wanted to point out on this page is that some of these folks who have not voted have substantial voting power. So just here within this first page, and there's 9 pages here, but just within this first page, it's almost enough of a percentage point to take this yes off the board and actually abstain from the hard fork. So what this tells me, and why, excuse me, why I'm bringing it up, is because this means there are a lot of unhappy Luna community members out there, a lot of people that did not want this, and we'll kind of walk through a little bit about that at the end. But it means that there are going to be a lot of disgruntled people out there, and you know, some of those people might be you in the comments. So I'm just curious to see how this plays out for the community overall, but just wanted to voice that issue with the voting. The next thing I want to run through here is just the detailed, finalized, amended revival plan. It has some important changes from when we last covered it just about a week ago. So let's run through some of the biggest changes here. First of all, Do Kwon included a disclaimer here saying it is not possible to include all UST and Luna holdings on Terra and other chains in the snapshots mentioned. So this is really, really important. The snapshot's likely going to occur in the next 2 days. So if you are included in this group of holders, make sure that you make the proper adjustments. So he says assets that may not be included. We have UST or Luna bridged off Terra. We have users that bridged UST or Luna who would like to be included in the post-attack snapshot need to bridge back to Terra before the snapshot is taken. And then the other thing we want to note is that UST or Luna on Terra protocols cannot be easily identified. All protocols listed on DeFi Llama, which is here, it'll link out, will be covered in addition to a few others that are known. Then the last couple things here, multi-sig contracts, you just want to make sure that you're not on a CW3 multi-sig contract. Otherwise, you will not be eligible at the snapshot for your airdrop. So now that we've covered that, let's get into some of the amendments here, and then we'll kind of review the actual finalized token allocation. So here's kind of the big amendment that was done to the distribution and the airdrop statistics. So first of all, the pre-attack Luna holders distribution. For all holders with a snapshot balance of 10K Luna or less, 30K will be unlocked immediately, and 30% will be unlocked at the beginning of the blockchain, so May 27th, this Friday. And then the rest will be 70% will be vested over 2 years thereafter with a 6-month cliff. So after 6 months, a quarter of that should vest, and then the rest will be over that next year and a half. So this is to ensure that small Luna holders have similar initial liquidity profiles. So this plan would cover 99.81% of Luna wallets while only representing 6.45% of total Luna at the pre-attack snapshot. So, the next thing, post-attack UST holders distribution from 20% to 15%. And this idea is that it's to ensure that DPEG related allocation is on par with the original stakeholder, so the pre-attack Luna allocation. The 5% saved goes to the community pool, which we will cover here just in a moment. And now the last piece is there will be an increased initial float. So all the initial float allocations will move from 15 to 30% to increase the initial token float. So those are some of the amendments that have been made. I want to touch on a few other areas of the revival plan just to kind of review. We covered a bit of this in the last video, but just to kind of break down generally a review of what's actually going to happen. It's really important to understand that. So first of all, when this new Terra chain is created, it's going to be without an algorithmic stablecoin, so no UST mirror on this new chain. The old chain will be called Terra Classic, so with the token Luna Classic, LUNC, and the new chain will be called Terra, just token Luna, as it used to be. And now Luna is going to be airdropped to Luna Classic stakers, Luna Classic holders residual UST holders, and essential app developers for Terra Classic. And the last thing I wanted to note, because this was actually a big issue discussed amongst the Terra community and the crypto community overall, but there were some really, really shady things going on with the Terra Foundation actually, exchanging money between different exchanges like Gemini, liquidating some of it. There was just a lot of back and forth with the Bitcoin that they had purchased. And to kind of get away from that bad brand moment, they basically said, we're getting rid of that wallet address that made those transfers. We're getting rid of that for the airdrop. So that wallet will be discontinued and Terra will be a fully community-owned chain. Now, a couple more things I want to touch on in the survival plan before we move on to the next important piece. So first of all, essential developers are going to be included in this, obviously. So they're getting 0.5% for emergency allocation, 1.5% for the alignment program, and 8% for the mining program. Why they're starting to basically bet big on these developers is because if these essential app developers don't come back, Luna will be dead in, essentially the first few weeks that it relaunches. So one of the biggest things for Do Kwon is to onboard as many developers as possible and retain as many as possible as quickly as he can to make sure that community and those users come right back and want to lock their value up in the new Luna ecosystem. So really, really critical point there. This is all dead in the water if he does not retain those developers. Now, going into a little bit of that token distribution, a lot of this is going to look similar from what we covered in the previous video. But just to review here, we're going to have community pool consisting of 30% of the initial drop. The pre-attack Luna holders are going to receive 35%. And here is that amendment right here. So for wallets with less than 10K Luna, 30% unlocked at the beginning, 70% vested over 2 years. And then obviously we have the less than 1 million and over 1 million here as well. But great to see that they're actually thinking about the folks with the less Luna here. That was definitely one of the discrepancies in the last version of the plan. So moving on here, pre-attack UST holders will get 10%. The 500K whale cap covers up to 99.7% of all holders, but only 26.7% of AUST holders. 30% unlocked at the beginning, 70% vested over 2 years. You're going to see that as kind of the repetitive metric right there. And then again, post-attack Luna holders, 10%, and then post-attack UST holders will get 15% as well, and these staking derivatives are included. So that is what you need to know about the token distribution, what's going to be going on for UST holders, Luna holders. But now I kind of want to move on just to a couple other quick notes. So there's been a lot going around. The one thing that I can't seem to nail down, and if one of you guys in the comments can, that'd be great. But I've seen initially on the initial plan, it was going to be 1 billion tokens for the new Luna blockchain. But now I'm seeing this number 116 million being tossed out. That would change a lot. I mean, it's almost a tenth of the initial supply that's being tossed around. So I'd love to know the initial supply, if that can be confirmed. I haven't seen Do Kwon confirm that quite yet. So now we're going to just quickly cover when they talked about this snapshot actually occurring. So the blockchain is actually expected to launch, the new Luna blockchain is expected to launch on Friday. But leading up to that, there's going to be a snapshot for that initial airdrop that will launch the new blockchain. So you need to be ready for the snapshot if you wish to prepare for the airdrop. So here is what the latest from the Terra developer team has been. So they're saying going by block times, the post snapshot block could happen as soon as May 26th. So guys, that is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 1620 UTC. So that is when you need to have all of your Luna where it needs to be. So that's referring to what we talked about before here. Do Kwon's kind of covering his butt here saying, hey, here's your warning. If you don't have your Luna where it needs to be, if you have it in one of these areas, you will not get your airdrop. So by tomorrow, you need to have your Luna off of any of these technicalities by tomorrow to receive the airdrop from that snapshot. So very, very important to focus on what's going to be coming tomorrow. And excuse me, I'm getting off of a sickness, so I apologize. So the next thing that I just want to kind of gloss over here now that we've covered that important information. This is more so just the kind of sentiment and the thoughts around the community here about Luna. I thought this was very, very insightful. So Zach Guzman says, one of the most fascinating, least understood aspects of crypto is assigning value to a project's community. And now he's essentially saying Terra is launching the largest market test on community ever because, and sorry, that's an obnoxious color, but basically Luna has always been seen as kind of one of the strongest communities in crypto. And here is essentially their chance to show that. You know, I've seen that in the comments in some of my recent Luna videos. A lot of you guys are very excited about this still, and I understand why. But at the same time, got to be aware of risks, and it's going to be really interesting to see if, you know, community really can lead to a whole new blockchain, whole new project being created out of thin air. So really, really curious to see what happens there. I think it's a great point. The last thing I'll leave you guys with is the response to this has been somewhat subpar. I think, you know, a lot of people were disappointed they didn't get a burn. You know, a lot of people saying they didn't want a fork. There was actually a pre-poll that said more than 90% of people didn't want a hard fork. Some people are saying, hey, we want an AMA with you. You know, some people are just saying, what the F? You know, I think that a lot of people are just a little bit confused. You know, it doesn't really seem with the vesting schedule that the Luna holders or UST holders that lost a ton are really going to get rewarded, right? Because you're basically betting on, one, the new Luna ecosystem being as successful as the last one, and two, you're betting on that being successful enough for you to hold through your, you know, 1 year cliff or your 4 year vesting, right? So it's just a lot going on in the community, a lot of different motions going around, but would love to hear what you guys think. That's all I have. Wanted to get this information out to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.